All right, so this first one, we're gonna start with this. We're gonna start with this name first because we're probably gonna need the built-in time because
Oh
you're gonna
boy.
love this. You're gonna love this. I apologize if some weird sounds come out from the other end of the microphone from Matt. He
I'm
might
very excited.
might do a lap around the room, but I only moved this guy up 2 spots, but I think it's a
Well,
significant two
is it
spots.
a quarterback?
I'm starting with quarterbacks.
Starting quarterback. So 2 spots is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it's not like wide receiver 40 versus 38,
One might
right?
say it's 2 spots.
Yes.
I
My
have
boy.
moved I have moved Tua from 10 to 8 in quarterbacks.
Whoa.
I moved him in front of Trevor Lawrence, which is
Beast
big for me
mode.
because I
I
all offseason I viewed it as a big 8 with Lawrence being 8.
yeah.
And Tua and Deshaun were my always my 9-10. And when I got back on
Huh.
my rankings, now I have not touched my rankings since wedding, honeymoon, everything. And I look at it and my mind has had Tua in front of Deshaun for the last several weeks. But I still notice my rankings. I had Deshaun at 9, Tua at 10. And I was like, well, let me flip that. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, well, when I'm in a draft, I would honestly rather leave the draft with Tua than Trevor. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's make the flip. Tua is now QB8 for me in my rankings, which is huge because Matt's the Tua guy
But
of all of us.
I have him behind those two though. Which right, I am the
So
Tua
I'm the Tua
guy.
guy now.
And this breaks my heart. I'm so
I'm
happy.
I'm the Tua guy now. It's just if Tua plays all season
I know,
and
right.
Hill plays all season and Waddle plays all season, like he could be QB5 honestly at
Yeah.
the end of the year. Like
He could
he
be
has
QB4.
immense upside. Yeah. In all
Yeah.
honesty, he could be, especially in 6 point per passing touchdown.
Right.
He could get an edge on some of those rushing guys. And yeah, when he's healthy and his two biggest weapons are healthy and Mike McDaniel is healthy, like his upside is very, very huge. And so right now I'm going to put him at QB8. He can't make it any farther up
Right.
unless I wake up one morning and hate Justin Fields. That's about it.
This
But
makes me
I
incredibly happy, but
yeah, I still have Fields at 5, by the way. But
I cannot believe that you got Tua higher than I do now.
yeah,
That
yeah,
I mean, it makes me want to reassess because I feel like there are these players. We've talked about this with Christian Watson for you, right? Where it's
yeah,
like sometimes you feel like you need to rein yourself in a little bit on these,
yep.
right? You don't want to let yourself get too far out ahead of the skates on some players. And the problem is, and you know what? I could see myself putting both Watson and Tua ahead of Trevor. I'm a big Watson guy though,
See, and
and
I've been banging the drum or just over these podcasts for the Browns offense and saying
yeah.
Deshaun's worth it this year. Go draft him. And I feel completely fine at him at 10.
And
Like I still think
this is more about moving Tua up. That is about moving those
yes.
guys down.
Yes.
I think that's an important thing to point out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not a knock on Watson. I still am very high on this Cleveland offense right now. I think Stefanski's going to build it around Watson and the passing game. But with that said, at the end of the day, Tua still has more upside.
Just keep on
So
saying, just keep on talking
so
about. Whisper these
there
sweet
is
nothings.
there is a internal debate in all of us of yes, I need to rein myself in and not let myself get carried away with this player, but also like I also am trying not to be too bold with certain picks.
Right.
Like I also want to try and keep myself reined in an aspect of, well, like I don't want to be the outlier on certain guys. Now, obviously, when you find your guy, you're fine being the outlier on them. But there's certain guys where you're like, well, I'm not the one banging the drum the most. I don't want to be the outlier on them. So you're always battling both sides of that. And sometimes some players you just say, screw it. I'm going to move them all the way from 10 to 8.
I love it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you're 1 for 1 on me being sold. Who you got as your next
Yeah.
quarterback?
So this one I am a little down on. I'm just kind
Oh,
of
this is the moving
losing.
down.
Yep. So I only have one of each. So this quarterback, I don't really see myself drafting him at all. And it is going to be now he's far down the rankings, but it is Geno Smith,
Okay.
where we talked about on the last episode of that passing game. when we were discussing vacated targets and can JSN carve a way in, but I don't really see pass attempts going up that much. And there is just a group of guys where I would almost just rather take a chance on these other names than like I think like Geno's in that range of waiting on QB this year, right? Like everyone who's waiting on QB is hoping to get either Geno or Goff, it seems like, or Russ. That's kind of the range I feel like everyone's kind of waiting on if they're going to wait on QB this year.
I have them at 13, 14, 15. So yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. I have Geno at 21.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I just I can't get myself to take him at all. And now this is with me ranking Kyler still. So keep that in mind. I have Kyler at 14. He's kind of at the in between tiers for me. But then like I have Rodgers, Danny Dimes, Russ, Goff, Love, and Stafford. That's kind of where I'm at with Geno right now.
Give me those names one more time here. And,
so
what was the number for the first gun?
This is 15 on.
Okay.
Because I ended a tier, then I put Kyler in, right? Which Kyler can move anywhere. He's like what Watson was last year.
Who do you have at 12 and 13?
That is Dak and Kirk.
Oh, Kirk. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your 11?
AR-15, baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Duh.
Well, I guess he's gonna be. Is he AR-5 now?
Oh, I have no idea. What is he? I haven't seen that.
I don't know.
Did he pick his number? Well, he's AR-12 for me.
Now I don't know, but
so starting at 15 then is who?
No, let me pull it back up. So it's Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Matty Stafford, then Geno.
Interesting. Now you've definitely got Love quite a bit higher than I do. I've had Love kind of go down a little bit in my ranking.
I'm probably gonna be the high guy on Love. Now, honestly, I might put Stafford over him. I feel like I'm kind of a higher guy on Stafford too. I haven't looked at a lot of stuff.
I've recently moved him up to 19.
Yeah. I just feel like as long as Stafford and Kupp are healthy, that's fantasy points right there.
Yep. You can hear more about that in last week's show.
So yeah, I honestly I'll probably make that move. Stafford 19, Love 20. But honestly, at the end of the day, we've seen what Geno has. Geno was not that good in the second half of the season. I will take the chances on Love and see what he is. He could be anything. He could even be Geno Smith.
Right.
So I'll take the unknown versus just Geno Smith again.
I would take Geno Smith there, and a big reason why was just kind of the deep ball that he did have. Like he was hitting some bombs, and I know.
And also it's Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN. That's a it's a very nice wide receiver.
It's an enticing trio, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not quite Bengals levels, but it's not too far away. It's as good as you can ask for.
And I also don't think it, and part of me not moving him up is also because it's not the Bengals where you bring in this. Here's your receiving core. Now your offense is built around getting them the ball. It's still going to be a Pete Carroll led Seahawks team where they're not going to really change their identity and the pass attempts are going to stay pretty much where they are. And we might see JSN get 80 to 90 targets. Like he might take a little bit away from the tight ends, but I don't think the size of their pie is changing very much. We use that phrase a lot on the show. I don't think that pie size is changing very much.
See, but I've got him at 13, and all of those guys, by the way, are in one big tier for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're shuffling a tier at that point.
You are, because I look at Denver, right? And they've got a stacked defense, and Russ was terrible last year. At least Geno was good,
Yeah, well, but for half a year, like Geno wasn't that good in the second half.
He wasn't.
And Russ finished on fire at the end of last year.
Geno was still better in the second half than Russ.
I'm just talking like Russ in the last 4 games was better. Geno over the last half of the year,
but Geno
wasn't
also
that great.
In the last 4 weeks, they did have a San Fran game and they did have a Jets game in there for Geno. So that
you got to deal with 2 San Fran games.
You do, and you get 2 Arizona games though to balance that out, right? He had those earlier. He just happened to have both those earlier in the year.
Yeah.
But in the second half, I mean, 23, 28, 26, 17, 14, 21, 15. So a little inconsistency right there at the very end.
So, and there's a couple non-Geno factors in this as well. One of them is with on the Russ side, you have Sean Payton in there. I'll take the Sean Payton team over the Pete Carroll team. You also have the Seahawks. I think their defense has gotten a lot better, and I think they are going to be competing.
It's nearly as good as Denver's defense, though.
No, and I'm not comparing Seahawks and Denver anymore. I'm just saying Russ and Geno. I'll take Russ because of Peyton, but when I'm looking at just Geno by himself, other things that I think he has working against him, not comparing to any other quarterbacks, but other things that he has working against him is going to be Pete Carroll and a good defense is going to pull the reins on the offense.
Can I give you a Jets have that same thing with Robert Saleh and a good defense? And
but Pete Carroll's been doing it for a long time. I don't know if we've seen Robert Saleh.
We haven't seen Robert Saleh have an Aaron Rodgers either.
We haven't seen Robert Saleh the quarterback.
Right. But him being a defensive minded coach though, right? I feel like the expectation
and that's a fair point, but not all defensive coaches are built the same.
Correct.
And have the same philosophy. And one of them is in the AFC East, which can be a real dogfight this year. I think it's only a 2-man race in the NFC West between the Seahawks and the Niners.
Yeah.
And I really think the Niners are going to have a point in the season they're going to struggle this year with their travel schedule, where they are just constantly rest disadvantage. Well, they just have a big rest disadvantage this year.
Yeah.
We discussed that on a previous episode as well.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed hearing Tanner's thoughts on the rankings. Days changed on quarterbacks, moving Tua up. Tanner's the Tua guy now on the show. So hey, hope you enjoyed the quarterback talk. If you want to hear what he's thinking about running backs and wide receivers, be sure to go check out that video. I'm gonna have both this one and that one come up at the same time. So right now, go click on over, see what Tanner's thinking about running backs and wide receivers.